Hello and welcome. Today I'll show you everything there is to know about skewers. What it is, how to use them, how to see them in real games, everything. To start off, what is a skewer? A skewer is a type of chess tactic where you attack a high value piece, forcing it to move out of the way, exposing a lower value piece behind it. So in this case, this would be an absolute skewer, and this means that the king must move, doesn't matter where, and we simply take the queen. There's also a relative skewer. Let's see our second example. In this position, it has nothing to do with the enemy king. So absolute is when you give a check and then the king must move, you take something behind it. But here, notice how the queen and rook are lined up on the same file. So rook d1 would be a relative skewer. The terms absolute, relative don't really matter. A skewer is a skewer, but just so you know that there's multiple types. So here, this dynamic is the same. The higher value piece must move out of the way, somewhere to the side, safely, doesn't matter. Let's say here. And we simply take the lower value piece behind it, in this case, the rook. So considering the black pawns are here, there's not a move like this that would save them against this tactic. So for that reason, they really must lose material. And if they take into us, then of course we would take with a bishop, because queen takes would run into rook takes, and now we just have a bishop endgame where we are down a pawn. So we must take with the bishop, and here we have a queen against the rook. So this is winning. The way you win something like this is simply by trading down everything, making a pass pawn, and going from there. So this would be a relative skewer. Now, going into example 3, this is a cool one, just to see how skewers are formed and what actually makes a skewer happen. So in order for there to be a skewer, some pieces must be lined up in a certain line. So here, the queen and the rook are lined up on the same file. And in the previous example, the king and the queen were lined up on the same rank. You could also do a diagonal skewer. So let's see how that would work. In example 3 right now, pause the video and try to see every single skewer. There's a few of them. So I'm going to spoil the solution in 3, 2, 1. Hopefully that gave you time to pause the video. And all the skewers are the following. So it's helpful to work backwards in terms of, okay, how do we skewer the king with something else? So what is in line with the king? So the queen, that means that anything that you can put on this line over here would actually be a skewer tactic. So for example, queen e5 check or rook h5 check, those would skewer the queen. Now notice that queen e5 doesn't actually win the queen, because after the king moves, we take, and they would just take back with a pawn. So rook is correct in that case. Here we have king and rook lined up on the same diagonal. So anything that you can put on the diagonal would skewer the rook. So here we have bishop f3, queen g2, or queen h1. So notice how I'm not going with my pieces. Okay, where can I skewer them? I'm going, okay, where do I need to be to give a skewer? Like, how are they lined up and how can I get there? So for this one, there's a skewer here. I can get rook d3 or queen d2. And for the final one, I need to be somewhere on the diagonal here, so bishop b3 or queen a2. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 skewers in this position. Pretty cool. And this example just, of course, is not from a real game. This is made up just to train your mind to look at how different pieces are lined up. In a real game, it's not going to be that easy to the point where you have a lot of them, their king is super open. It's going to be something very subtle, and usually, just like most tactics, real game examples are based on undefended pieces. So if there is an undefended opponent's piece somewhere, there's a very high chance that you can give a sequence of checks or some sort of tactic, not necessarily a skewer, in order to exploit it. Sometimes it could be a fork, sometimes you can pin it, sometimes you could do a discovery on it, many different types of tactics. But today we're covering skewers, and there is a way to skewer this queen with the king. So notice how they are lined up on the same diagonal. Every high-rated player has this on intuition, where as soon as they see an undefended piece, they're like, okay, must be something there, especially if it's lined up with another weak piece, such as the king or another undefended piece. So pieces being geometrically lined up is always a great way to notice tactics in real games. And now the main thing to figure out is, okay, our rook is in the way here, so that's a little bit awkward. We have multiple checks, and it's not obvious which one to go for. So the way to do it is just calculation. There is no shortcut. So when I see this position, I notice this and I'm like, okay, let's start with queen h7. That looks like it works. And then queen h7, and then I calculate, okay, they have king here, or rook covers. And I instantly see that rook covers gives me a check, so it cannot be the right choice. If they had to go with the king here, by the way, then I could just do a discovered attack on their queen here. So let's imagine queen h7, king to f6, I would just go rook to f4, they would take me with a pawn, and I would take their queen. Alternatively, after queen h7, king g5, I would just go rook g4, let's say, and again, they would take me, I would take their queen. So all the other variations work, but it doesn't matter, because of course they're going to play the rook g6 one, where I just lose the game. So for that reason, it's not queen h7, so my intuition pulled me in the wrong direction. That's fine, I just have to keep going. So your intuition should just tell you which line to calculate first, not to instantly play the move. So what else can we do? Queen f7 doesn't really get me closer towards that skewer. I mean, after queen f7, there's just rook f6 covering it. And again, queen h7, rook g6 check. After this, if they had to take my rook, then it would work as a skewer, but again, they don't have to. So I'm going to go for the third option, which is rook takes e5, because I just saw that after, let's say, king f4, there's just going to be mate with queen g5, king f3, queen g3. My rook is covering the escapes. And after rook e5, the other variation is after rook takes e5, there's queen h7 skewer. So I finally made it work by distracting the rook away from this counter check, let's say. So I got the main idea right, and I just had to figure out the move order, what I do specifically. But your intuition should tell you, oh, there might be a tactic here because of the weak king, because of the multiple checks, and because of the undefended queen. And funnily enough, this position really happened in a game between two LionChess players. In a blitz game, white was 110 and black was Avela. Those are the usernames. So this was happening in a real game, which is a cool example. And we will end this video with two puzzles that are instructive. So this one features a transition, a possible transition into a lesser endgame. This is how many skewers will happen actually in the endgame. And you might say, oh, there's just a handful of pieces. What are the chances of a tactic? Pretty high, actually. It's very underestimated. So here the question is, should white trade queens and pawn race? Or should they just keep on playing the queen endgame with, let's say, queen a3 or queen a7 or something? So the question is, do we transfer into the lesser endgame? So this could be a forced win. It could be just a draw. It could be losing. You have to figure it out. So take your time and calculate. Again, pause the video because I'm going to spoil the solution in 3, 2, 1. It's a win for white. And it seems like it's draw, especially if you did the famous counting thing, which a lot of amateurs do, which is they go, oh, I'm going to trade queens, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it takes me longer, so I might actually lose. But you're not accounting for whose move it is, and you're not accounting for the dynamics in that end position. So that counting is extremely dangerous, and try to move away from that if you can, if you want to improve. And instead, as hard as it is, you have to go move by move. You can help yourself with arrows if you're playing online, just right click. And you can even do like different colors, so like green for you, red for them, or whatever. The way you do red is to hold control on your keyboard, by the way. And you have to go step by step. If you get lost with visualization, just go from the start. I know it's difficult, it takes more effort, but it's the only proper way to do it. So let's try to do it. Queen takes, king takes. h4, a4, h5, a3, h6, a2, h7, a1 queen, h8 queen, check, and the skewer. Remember that their king is there. That's why I made the circle here. So the way I do it, I draw arrows and stuff, might be helpful for you. So I go draw the arrow and then press it again to make a circle. That's where the pawn is at the moment. So let's see it again. So here. Notice how I leave the red circle here. So circle is like where the current position is. So I go h4 and then a4, circle. And then when I draw the next one, I draw an arrow, I make a circle here, and I remove the previous circle, just clicking it again. So it's like, it's kind of cheating with visualization. I like to think of it as, you know, training wheels more than cheating, because the tool is here. So after a3, I remove the previous circle, I make a new one. a6, so the circles like represent where the pawns are at the moment, and it gives you an exact visualization, because if I did it otherwise, it might be a bit confusing. So let's see it on the board now. Take, h4, a4, here, 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 and they get the queen first, but we get ours with a skewer, so we win. A lot of players, by doing the counting thing, would completely misevaluate and miss a possible forced victory. And this is based on a skewer, so it's quite instructive as well. And our final puzzle for today, this is going to be white to move and win. This one also happened in a real game, so it's a great example. And drop your best solution down in the comments below. While you're there, if you have any questions about skewer specifically or about chess in general, feel free to write them down. I reply to every single comment, so don't hesitate. If you like the video, if you like the idea of chess improvement in general, consider subscribing to my channel to see more stuff like this. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching and have a great week. I will talk to you very soon. Take it easy.